Part 5. I did want to say that imagine how big these guys would be if they started only in maybe 2005 or 10 with all. I love how they're normal and intelligent and all that, and it was a time when music was promoting bad stuff. Really, when you think about rock and roll and everything, it's all about, going, and I love it that they aren't that way. I'm so glad I discovered a band that's like that. Other day I reacted to Black Sabbath with Dio, where he's sending the whole crowd to hell and he's going like, we're all going to hell, blah blah. Not so much into that. And also the promotion of, like, we all know what Rolling Stones, how they lived. Nah. Pink Floyd keeps mentioning ecstasy in their songs. Gilmore. Nah. These guys. I mean, even today you have it in music, but I think it's not as much as before. At least not the one that I'm listening to, of the modern pop era music. And these guys would perfectly fit in. Like, imagine today having a rock band like this. I mean, maybe nobody would know about them, but who knows, maybe they would be bigger than Taylor Swift and Eminem and Ariana Grande. Because I feel like today's crowd would really connect with them.
In mid-August of 97, we finished the tour earlier that summer, and there was a message to call the office. It was urgent. One of the girls from our office told me what had happened. Neil's daughter was in a terrible car accident, lost her life. I mean, it was just such a horrible shock.
It was, I mean, I still feel it today. It was the start of a whole lot of emotions that we'd never felt before. I had not had a friend who'd gone through anything like this.
Ray called me and told me about the accident, and I was just in shock, as everyone was.
You're just so unprepared for how devastating it is, and you just don't know what to do or how to help or any of that.
Can't do nothing.
He could be such a private guy, and when news like this hits, you don't want to do the wrong thing. You don't want to try to comfort them and find out that you're only just comforting yourself.
Everything to do with the band ended at that moment. It just didn't seem important. It was not something you even thought about thinking about.
They didn't really know what to do with themselves, so they left Toronto. They got away from all those reminders. And then Jackie got sick. After she passed away, he was lost. And so he ran. He got on his motorcycle and ran.
When his wife died, he had to do what he needed to do to just find some kind of peace. He embarked on a long...
I was sure for a moment there that he said when his bike died, it wasn't a bike, yeah.
Very, very painful journey, just going and going and going and going.
Yeah, everybody was so worried about me, and in fact, there was a network I know among my friends and loved ones. Oh, I heard from him today. I got a postcard, or he called. They would all reassure each other, because anything could have happened to me, even by accident, let alone by design.
Fuck, we were so worried about him. But he was at arm's length.
Neil needed time. To be honest, I had no real interest in music for about a year. I hardly listened to music.
We were on sabbatical. We were shut down.
Basically, we're talking about a journey that stretched 55,000 miles, starting from Quebec and going up to the Arctic and around Alaska and out Mexico, across all of Mexico from Baja.
I think I've been shut down for like last 15 years, because it came in a row.
Across the whole Mexican mainland down to Belize. I go to the small towns and the back roads, generally stopping for the night in motels along the way. And I don't think in that whole 55,000 miles, I don't know if I was ever recognized once in a little town in a gas station or a motel or a diner, because I'm just a guy sitting there with a hat on reading a book, you know. A lot of times I can just slip around and be a guy, and that's all I want from traveling too. I just want to be a guy, and that's life enough for me. Travel has always been known as a soothing balm, you know, and even motion from the time we're little babies, you know, we want to be rocked, and if a baby's crying, you can take it for a drive in the car and it calms down. That's the way I described it to myself at that time, that I was so stirred up into my little baby soul would only be soothed by motion. I traveled out of the darkest place a human being can come from, and it was landscapes, highways, and wildlife that revitalized me. The timeless landscapes gives your tiny existence a new perspective when you're among things that are millions of years old.
I'm really kinda against bikes, but it's different in America where you can drive them on open road and stuff, but here in urban areas people are racing each other so fast with their fast bikes, and they keep zooming everywhere. And I think in 2003 there wasn't a single day in my country where someone hasn't had a motorcycle accident, and a lot of them were fatal. So I don't encourage anyone to drive motorcycles unless they are knowing what they are doing, but you never know. It's always someone else's fault, and it's not a safe thing. It's like asking for it. But in America I get it, like where you can go and just drive in the open desert. If you see a car, you see it like 10 miles further. That's different.
I remember getting postcards from him from wherever, and he was using different names. We have like about 6,000 nicknames for each other. So I would get a postcard with that nickname on it, so I knew who it was from. They were lifelines, you know, those little contacts. And he knew we were there somewhere, and he knew that we would be there if he wanted us to be there. All he had to do was reach out.
As far as the band was concerned, as things went on, it seemed less and less of a possibility that we would get back together, and it looked like, you know, the band was basically, it was 4 years that the band was done.
Oh, I thought it was over. Alex and I would talk about it once in a while, but there was no point. You know, I don't want to play in Rush without those other two guys. You know, there's no replacing anybody in this band. It's just not possible. It is the band, the three of us. You know, even though he's the new guy, he's just as important.
Those two guys were the most stable thing I had, my family and loved ones, and those that dared to stay around me through that time. And so hard that, you know, I would have walked.
My concern was just that he would be okay. And I thought it was pointless to think about it beyond that. After, I don't know, a year and a half, whatever, 2 years, I sensed that he would do it again, that he would be okay. I don't think you work that hard to be what most people consider is the best in the world at something and not go and do it again one day. I didn't know if it meant that it would take 5 years or 10 years, but I thought that one day he'd have to do that again.
Stopped writing, I was ready. Traveling all that time. It was when I came to rest, and I came out to California and met my wife-to-be, and I got some stability there, and with Carrie's help, then realized that I was wanting to work again. That's basically what it took. I had to stop moving first.
He was a little apprehensive and thought that perhaps maybe we might try to talk about perhaps trying to maybe think about possibly getting back in the studio to record a record. And it was really like that. It was quite a fragile, delicate proposition.
I don't think he knew if he could do it. You know, he hadn't played his drums in a hell of a long time. He's such a perfectionist, such a fucking monster musician. I think he was afraid of not being as good as he once was.
It was an unsureness for me, especially. Can I do this? Can I write rock lyrics like it's the most important thing in the world? Can I slave over and over and over on a drum part to refine every detail of it like it's the most important thing in the world? I don't know.
We basically booked a studio 7 days a week for 14 or 15 months. Everything had so much weight to it. And for him to get back his chops was really a slow process.
I could hear my state of mind in my drumming. Anger, obviously, but confusion. That the state I was in, and it's in the lyrics too, of course, so many of them had to deal with. You know, I could not sidestep all of that stuff.
But there was something that was so pure and truthful about the energy on Vapor Trails. It really is a representation of that time, of the coming back of the band.
Coming back to the stage is way more difficult, because also that's the essential existence of a band, is on a stage. I've come back to that many times, and one of the things that keeps me from quitting touring all the time is that's what a band does. So coming back to the stage was the biggest recovery possible.
Thank you. And good evening. Hartford, United States of America, nice to be back here. It's been quite long enough, I think.
That was in Hartford, Connecticut on the Vapor Trails tour. And it was such a dramatic thing after all this that we'd gone through, that here we were at our first gig back on the road, and we never even thought we would work again.
I think it was one of the few times we've had a group hug before the show. It wasn't lost on us that getting to that point was almost impossible. So, you know, we kind of looked at each other, gave each other a hug, and said, okay, let's go. The crowd was amazing. They welcomed us back, really warm. And Neil was really nervous. So I figured my job is to go over there and to make him not nervous. So I kept checking on him, throwing him some shapes to make sure he was smiling or laughing.
That's what that night was like. I was completely folded into the job of performing, but there were just moments when the three of us connected visually, and we knew what we were doing. And I remember saying to Ray afterwards that it would have been a shame if that never happened again.
It was amazing. And it was amazing to see how happy he was after the show. There were some demons were gone that night.
Part of the rebirth of the band was suddenly a willingness to go where we hadn't gone and to see these legions of fans. That was such a positive effect on us. It's like, okay, this is a second chance for us to go back out and play some new places.
No idea going to Brazil of any popularity that we might have. And then the Sao Paulo show was 60,000 people. I mean, by far the largest audience we singularly have ever played to. There was a sense of wild, tumultuous, impossible masses of people, but so locked in a unifying way that it was just magical. We elevated.
having gone through that whole tour, being in this place where we had people going totally mental, playing one little victory, it was a huge victory that we'd survived the previous 5 years. Finishing on such a high note was quite a trip.
The newness of touring was over, and I think we had successfully returned.
So many people say they are overrated, but they obviously had, like, what did he say, 200 gigs in 365 days. That's not something small bands do. That's not like what opening bands do. They were big. And I didn't know that. I'm not sure I remember this episode.
Modern day warrior named Tom Sawyer. He floated down a river on a raft with a black guy. Hold on, stop. Those aren't the right lyrics, fat ass. I am Geddy Lee, and I will sing whatever lyrics I want.
This was
There's a
perfectly
lot
timed.
of people who were 18 in 1978. Guys who were crazy Rush fans. They're in positions of relative power now. They're raising their hands and going, Rush.
Those aren't the with a black modern. Oh yeah. Modern day warrior named Tom Sawyer. He floated down a river on a raft with a black guy. Hold on, stop. Those aren't the right lyrics, fat ass. I am Geddy Lee, and I will sing whatever lyrics I want.
There's a lot of people who were 18 in 1978. Guys who were crazy Rush fans. They're in positions of relative power now. They're raising their hands and going, yeah, I want to be on this bandwagon now. I always was there. Now they had the ability to actually bring it to more people than ever before.
My guests tonight have 24 gold and 14 platinum records. Please welcome Rush! Geddy, Neil, Alex, thank you so much for joining us. Pleasure. I just want to remind everybody that this is your first appearance on American television in 33 years, correct?
I think one of the greatest things
And when was this?
to happen to the collective community that has very much enjoyed Rush for many years was their appearance on the
33
Colbert
years.
Report, because I've seen these guys get beaten up by this supposed cool people for a long time, and then in one fell swoop, Stephen Colbert puts them on their show and gives them the hand of coolness.
You're known for some sort of long songs. Have you ever written a song so epic that by the end...
Why is Stephen Colbert tied with a rope? Is he going to get a veggie or something? See the purple rope?
are yet to be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is there any chance your next album will be called That's Bullshit?
You could get into the sociological and cultural reasons why a band like Rush was publicly marginalized. And you could say, what was it? Was it they were too weird, Geddy's voice? I like to think that at the end of the day, people will step back and all those labels fall away because the body of work is significant. To me, they remain one of the top bands in the world. Now, whether some guy at Rolling Stone decides they are or not is completely irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, rock is a people's game, and the people have generally and consistently voted for this band.
There's a generation of rock critics that have kept them from being in Rolling Stone and from being a part of that conversation. They were on the other side of this divide that we're talking about back when they were held in corners by Rush fans at parties going, but you don't understand, And they really liked Elvis Costello, or they really liked David Bowie or something that was a little more critically accepted. And now it's kind of like we're all so old that even if you hated Rush in the 80s and 70s, now you got to give it up for them. You just got to, or else you're just being an old dickhead.
I think that in many ways you're served better if you're not quite as successful. If you never become a pop star, if you don't have top 40 hits, then what you have is kind of a pure memory.
You have something
They
to
don't think you ever sold out.
motivate
Virtue is
you.
actually rewarded, I believe.
Once you go to the top, you can only fall down. They were just going up.
The thing with us is we've always walked along the shore of the mainstream, and we've been attached to it and connected ourselves to it time and again, but we've always been a little bit outside of it.
We had our own stream. And it wasn't the main one, but it was not too far away from the main one. I always like to consider us the world's most popular cult band.
The Rush fan, while it's a stereotype that it's like mostly guys who like heavy metal, there are many devoted female fans. It's kind of like a giant club. People turn on their kids to Rush, who turn on their kids to Rush.
It's just amazing that the music's been able to go from this generation to this generation, and even a younger generation. You know,
their fans have stuck with them through all of it. All their shows are sold out still. I mean, when Snakes and Arrows came out in 2007, it charted really well for quite a while, and it was some of the biggest shows they've ever played. It's just amazing for them to come back really strong like that. It was just like, it took off. It took off again all of a sudden.
It seems like they're bigger now than they've ever been, which is fantastic. There's a comfort in knowing that those same three guys are out there. And it's also spectacular to see three guys that could tolerate each other for all these years and still make music, make good music.
How many more times?
Hey, Derek, here's that thing you ordered. It arrived today, this thing you ordered.
Thank you, Larry.
It's a special thing.
Can you turn that off while I use it?
Three Stooges all at once. They're just such a unique and weird concoction. And I get the sense, and I always have from Rush, that they're on a righteous path. There's something there that's really pure, sincere, and honest.
I feel like sometimes this is the band I always wanted to make, to have to... Man.
At the root of all of it, it's also really good, you know? That matters more than anything else.
There's a magic and a coolness to them that continues to this day, and that's a testament to the music's power. I mean, that's how you know. It's the only way you know. You check in after 25 years. Is it still resonating? Yeah. It's the only true test. Just time.
All right, shall we? Now. What, now? You mean now? You mean right now? Now? I can't go on now.
No,
Got things to do.
not right now.
Strangers, I'm speaking it. tell us where we're going tonight?
We're going to meet with Neil. We're going to talk about stuff, I guess. Drink some local wine.
Will there be any discussion of the next steps for the band?
Well, we don't really want to hang around with the guy. So, yeah, we'll talk about that stuff. This is just a business meeting.
Do we have business meetings?
This is the first one.
This will be your 24th record? What's the motivation to keep doing it?
Chicks.
Okay, I call this meeting to order. Wait. I call this meeting to order.
It's so great to drink wine. It tastes fantastic, and it makes you feel funny.
Didn't I ever tell you that Lux is a genius?
You never had to tell me.
He's a genius.
He manifests it every single day.
Why don't we write some songs?
Right now. Let's start.
I got a notepad here.
He's a
Oh,
writer.
you're going to
He's
write some
writing.
lyrics?
I can write things down.
What I thought was that
What if we
Lurks
were
and I...
doing something on the Frankenstein
Well, that
thing
was
that we were
close.
just talking about? Like the life of Frankenstein.
A concept album?
Inspiration here. If you had some bold.
Hey, yeah.
Perfect.
You know something? You got a couple bolts.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's a miracle, really, that we've ever had a conversation.
Let's not start now.
You know what they say about if you put 100 monkeys in a room with typewriters, that they'll eventually, produce the works of Shakespeare.
Who's going to clean those typewriters?
We're getting into a weird area here.
I think typewriters will break
Defecation.
before they produce words of Shakespeare.
Oh, I
It's like
understand.
working with a whole new person.
This relationship.
Just saying.
I'm so sick of you guys. I just feel really
This was really helpful for me.
This is
I'm
fantastic.
working
Or the
through
monkeys
something
won't
emotionally,
live
me
long
too.
enough
psychologically, and
to
it's really
write
helpful.
Shakespeare.
Yeah, and I quit the fucking stupid band. I'm out of here.
Okay, take your smokes and go then.
As soon as I can get over there, I'm gonna rise to my knees and kick your ass.
Rise to your knees. That sounds like the new Rush album
That'll
title.
be the day.
Oh my God, we are geniuses.
We're gonna do Hockey Nights in
Hockey,
Canada
hockey,
song
hockey.
with the drum solo with the Latino stuff in it. Boy, that's gonna be wonderful.
Can't wait.
That's the next album, guys. We've got it sorted out.
Okay,
I think we've been successful in destroying these people's film. I will remind them that I said you would regret it.
He said.
I just wanted to say that.
I said, don't be surprised when you discover how boring we really are.
I did, but I did.
Cut!
2010. Man, I'm sorry I missed Rush in my past, but it's never too late. Thank you for sticking around and watching the possibly all parts of this documentary. I don't have any final thoughts. Just love Rush. Peace.